NASA scientists have dubbed it Apophis as an Egyptian god of chaos. It's a 1,100-foot wide behemoth that will make what is called a close approach to Earth on April 13th, 2029, or Friday the 13th in 10 years. This is a simulation of the asteroid's trajectory. It was first spotted in 2004. NASA says the asteroid will pass within 19,000 miles of Earth, so it's not expected to pose a threat. But that is within range of the many satellites and other spacecraft orbiting the planet. And it is close enough that scientists are already discussing sending up missions to space to study the God of Chaos asteroid up close.
It'll be slowly moving across the sky. It'll be about as bright as a medium bright star. And so this has not happened before, not in my lifetime.
The asteroid has been named and renamed several times. It is also known as the Doomsday Asteroid and the God of Chaos. I think the names say it all.
The name itself derived from two Nahuatl terms, Quetzal being the name of the bird that its tail feather resembled, and Coatl meaning snake or serpent. For those of you wondering, Nahuatl was a language spoken by the Aztecs, and to them Quetzalcoatl translated to mean feathered serpent. The worship of Quetzalcoatl took place in several locations over a large period of time, broken up into much smaller segments. The earliest of these periods was believed to have been in 400 BC to 600 AD, in the city of Teotihuacan, where there was an enormous pyramid built in honor of the feathered serpent. This serpent would later be identified as the Aztec god Quetzalcoatl.
Okay, so this is from the Colburn Bibles, chapter 3, the destruction and recreation. It is known, and the story comes down from ancient times, that there was not one creation, but two, a creation and a recreation. It is a fact known to the wise that the earth was utterly destroyed once, and then reborn on a second wheel of creation. At the time of the great destruction of earth, God caused a dragon from out of the heaven to come and encompass her about. The dragon was frightful to behold. It lashed its tail, it breathed out fire and hot coals, and a great catastrophe was inflicted upon mankind. The body of the dragon was wreathed in a cold bright light. Beneath, on the belly, was a ruddy hued glow, while behind it trailed a flowing tail of smoke. It spewed out cinders and hot stones, and its breath was foul and stenchful, poisoning the nostrils of men. Its passage caused great thunderings and lightnings to rend the thick darkened sky, and all heaven and earth being made hot. The seas were loosened from their cradles and rose up, pouring across the land. There was an awful shrilling trumpeting which outpowered even the howling of the unleashed winds. Men were stricken with terror and went mad at the awful sight of the heavens. They were loosened from their senses and dashed about, crazed, not knowing what they did. The breath was sucked from their bodies, and they were burnt with a strange ash. And then it passed, leaving earth unwrapped with a dark, glowing mantle which was rudely lit up inside. The bowels of the earth were torn open in great, writhing upheavals, and a howling whirlwind rent the mountains apart. The wrath of the sky monster was loosened in the heaven. It lashed about in flaming fury, roaring like 1,000 thunders. It poured down fiery destruction amid a welter of thick black blood. So awesome was the fearfully aspected thing that the memory mercifully departed from man. His thoughts were smothered under a cloud of forgetfulness. The earth vomited forth great gusts of foul breath from awful mouths opening up in the midst of the land. The evil breath bit at the throat before it drove men mad and killed them. Those who did not die in this manner were smothered under a cloud of red dust and ashes, and were swallowed by the yawning mouths of earth, or crushed beneath crashing rocks. The first sky monster was joined by another which swallowed the tail of the one going before, but the two could not be seen at once. The sky monster reigned and raged above the earth, doing battle to possess it, but the many-bladed sword cut them in pieces, and their falling bodies enlarged the land and sea. In this manner the earth was destroyed by calamity descending from out of the skies. The vaults of heaven had opened to bring forth monsters more fearsome than any that had ever haunted the uneasy dreams of men. Men and their dwelling places were gone, only sky boulders and red earth remained where once they were, but amidst all the desolation a few survived, for man is not so easily destroyed. They crept out from the caves and came down from the mountainsides, their eyes wild and their limbs trembled, their bodies shook, and their tongues lacked control. Their faces were twisted, and their skin hung loose on their bones. They were as mad and wild beasts, driven into an enclosure before flames. They knew no law, being deprived of all the wisdom they once were, and they once had, and those who had guided them were gone. The earth, only true altar of God, had offered up a sacrifice of life and sorrow to atone for the sins of mankind. Man had not sinned indeed, but in the things he had failed to do. Man suffers not only for what he does, but for what he fails to do. He is not chastised for making mistakes, but for failing to recognize and rectify.
In the feats and exploits of Ninurta, that deity sets out to destroy the Kur. Kur initially intimidates Ninurta into retreating, but when Ninurta returns with greater resolve, Kur is destroyed. This looses the waters of the Abzu, causing the fields to be flooded with unclean waters. Ninurta dams up the Abzu by piling stones over Kur's corpse. He then drains these waters into the Tigris, Kramer 1961. The identification of Ninurta's antagonist in this passage as Kur appears to be miscast. Black and green identify his foe as the demon Azag, who was the spawn of An and Ki, and who produced monstrous offspring with Kur. The remainder of the details of this story are the same as in Kramer's account, but with Asag replacing Kur. In other versions, Ninurta is replaced by Adad.
Usually 10 times the diameter of the asteroid. The Apophis would create a crater that is 2.6 miles wide and 0.5 kilometers deep. If it lands in a remote place, the effect will be minimal. So we all hope it'll crash into some place with extreme conditions, like a desert or ice regions that have zero human population. What most people feared was that the asteroid's hit would cause an impact winter. This would block out the sun all around the world. Plants would die off, so would animals and humans. They expect the asteroid to follow a trajectory of 7.4 miles, which will pass thousands of miles from the planet.
And to the angel of the church in Philadelphia write, These things saith he that is holy, he that is true, he that hath the key of David, he that openeth, and no man shutteth, and shutteth, and no man openeth. I know thy works. Behold, I have set before thee an open door, and no man can shut it. For thou hast a little strength, and hast kept my word, and hast not denied my name. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews, and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. Him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my God, and he shall go no more out. And I will write upon him the name of my God, and the name of the city of my God, which is New Jerusalem, which cometh down out of heaven from my God, and I will write upon him my new name. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches.
Greater public information, and second, to the need for far greater official secrecy. The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society, and we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweighed the dangers which are cited to justify it. Even today, there is little value in opposing the threat of a closed society by imitating its arbitrary restrictions. Even today, there is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not survive with it. And there is very grave danger that an announced need for increased security will be seized upon by those anxious to expand its meaning to the very limits of official censorship and concealment. That I do not intend to permit to the extent that it's in my control. And no official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, civilian or military, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know. But I do ask,
As President of the United States, I'm indeed honored to be here on this occasion, at once so solemn and also so joyous, the dedication of the John F. Kennedy Library. Like a great cathedral, this building was a long time coming, but it more than justifies the wait. Its grace and its dignity are, I hope and believe, worthy of the man whose memory it will nurture. I never met him, but I know that John Kennedy loved politics. He loved laughter, and when the two came together, he loved that best of all.
And once again, here's Andy Kaufman, joined by the Joe Clayton percussionists.
somebody had to do it. So I'm taking on China. I'm taking on China on trade. And you know what? We're winning because we're the piggy bank. We're the one that all these countries, including the European Union, wants to rob and takes advantage of. European Union, $200 billion. China, more than $500 billion. Sorry, I was put here by people. I was put here by people to do a great job.
Yeah, he played with people's heads not only on stage but off. And it cost him at the end. Wow. That would be great. Except I don't think I'd want to get killed though. You know what I mean? I don't think that part. I wouldn't like that part. But no. Make it. Huh? When I'm more famous, we could make it. Yeah. We could do stuff like that. Well, of course. Yeah? Of course. But then wouldn't people hate me when it turns out I'm really alive? No, because then every few months you die, right? Oh, then you know what? What? And then? Yeah, that's great. Every few months you die, right? Yeah, and then for a while, everybody says, you just put this on.
Chapter 13. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power, and his seat, and great authority. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wondered after the beast. And they worshipped the dragon which gave power unto the beast, and they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? And there was given unto him a mouth, speaking great things and blasphemies. And power was given unto him to continue 42 months. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name, and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints, and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds, and tongues, and nations. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb, slain from the foundation of the world. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them that dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword, and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666.